So glad to be here.
So thank you, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
So talk to us a little bit about how you know Martin.
I know Martin, and we just talked about that. I can't really remember how we entered each other's life. All it seems to me is like we've always been brothers in arms, and certainly musical brothers. Um, Whereby, yeah, I mean, I made him do things which, we're talking about superhuman, and really, I remember sort of coming up with crazy ideas and making Martin do it, and secretly thinking, what will his mother think? After all this training, after all this, great education, becoming a beautiful classical cellist, and here I have him, you know, play these weird notes for the Joker in Dark Knight, or the crazy experiences we had on Black Hawk Down, where I decided I don't know, I was method acting. I was being, just this horrible general. And then I remember one moment, like we never slept during that project. There was no time. It was just like at it all the time. And I remember it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. We're all in this room together, and we're actually supposed to be doing this fast track, but Martin just starts playing, and it's from a different place. It's not. He's certainly not playing what he's supposed to be playing. He's playing way, way beyond anything, and it's so beautiful. And all I'm doing is I'm looking at everybody else to make sure that they are not going to start playing the fast thing. That this moment of incredible beauty and poetry can just go by. And yep, whoops, that became, sort of a cornerstone in that movie. Lots of those, it's this odd thing that we musicians are weird. I mean, my life is I come to this room, I write music, I go home. That's it. End of story. The glamorous Hollywood life is I could be anywhere, because really the only thing that really truly interests me, and the only time, other than when my cell phone suddenly goes off like this, the only sort of human contact I really have is with other musicians, because there is a conversation we can have when we start playing music that is, it's a different language, and we can express things in that language that we can't possibly express in words. And what you try to do is you try to surround yourself with extraordinary players. But they can't just be technically extraordinary, they have to be extraordinary human beings, because at the end of the day, the thing that really comes across with an extraordinary musician is that they aren't afraid to bare their soul for you, and let themselves be counted in, how big their heart is. And I think that's probably the main reason why so much of my stuff turned into Martin cello concertos, where I could literally go, oh, hang on a second, Jack Sparrow, Pirates, cello concerto, of course, the Joker, Martin Tillman, so it becomes so, because I know of him coming from plenty in his spirit and in his heart and in his musicianship. And I'm on purpose not even talking about his technical ability. I'm just talking about being able to tap into something that can make that can give people an extraordinary experience, because that's really, at the end of the day, what you're after. So to answer your question, which I really haven't answered, how did we meet? It's like we never didn't meet. It's like we've always been making music together. We've always been friends. We've always been hanging out. We've always come up with interesting projects. And we've always, I don't know if he met me through Harry, or he met Harry through me. It doesn't matter. It's these small little units of friendship that last a lifetime that get formed.
That
but it really is the truth. I mean, it's, you know, I suppose I'm a pillager and hunter of souls, you know, and somebody comes into your life and you just know you have to go and make music with it. And that's our conversation. That's you know, this crazy room, really what it's about is that, you know, we were doing it on Rush. There was, you know, working with Ron Howard, and Ron sort of liked my tune. It's okay, you know, but I could tell, you know, he wasn't getting quite as excited as I was hoping he would. And so, you know, it was just the three of us, Ron, Martin, and me, sitting in this room and just exploring the possibilities. And I would see Martin play, and I would watch Ron's face, you know, and it was like hearing music pour out from Martin. You know, sometimes it would hit the button, sometimes it wouldn't, and it was just a matter of staring. You know, and you know, the superhuman thing, you see, I interpret it always slightly, there's so many interpretations I have of that. One of the things, you know, like just now watching the Olympics, you know, and people are beating one world record after the other, and we realize, we as the human race, physically, you know, we seem to be excelling. We seem to, obviously, if we break a world record, we're doing better than we did before. But what people don't quite notice, because they never quite do that thing, and maybe you did do that thing of pointing a camera at a musician's hands as they're playing, and there's an agility, and there's, you know, beat Cirque du Soleil acrobatics doing all this. There's stuff going on, and all these musicians that I know, myself included, you know, when you ask them really the truth, when did you start becoming a musician? They'll give you some fictitious date, because they can't actually remember that they were musicians all their life, and they started training as soon, you know, me, as soon as I could go. I remember, you know, like, oh, it's great to be able to touch the keys of the keyboard, and then it was, oh, it's great to touch the keys of the keyboard, because I'd gotten a little, oh, now that moment when you can actually, when your feet actually reach the pedal, you know. And so don't give me that stuff about lawyers and accountants and dentists and doctors that spend so much time learning their craft. You know, we are living it right from the word go, and all we try to do is get better at it. So I don't know if it's superhuman as opposed to become more human. Well, if I have to talk about Martin and Eva, if I talk about Martin and Eva, the superhuman element is actually not superhuman. It's the most human of elements, which is that love transcends impossible odds with them constantly. You know, if people say anything good about me, I'm nothing compared to the dedication that, for instance, Martin manages to find in his devotion and love for Eva. That's true superhuman behavior. You know, that's true moral behavior. That's true extraordinary commitment to not just another human being, but to just the human being in your life. You know, you can think of her suffering in the terms of suffering and the pain and everything, but at the same time, I think you can flip it on its head and think of it as probably the most extraordinary relationship you'll ever get to witness. And I'm always interested, you know, look, the reason I like making movies is because they always present us with, they try to illuminate the drama of life. Otherwise, you know, okay, the robot movies might not. But what I think is so extraordinary that something so beautiful can come out of such a miserable, messy, horrible, horrifying situation as Eva finds herself in. You know, nobody deserves this pain. Nobody deserves the tragedy that she gets to experience every day. You know, and at the same time, the other side of it is I don't know anybody who experiences such devotion and such true love as these two get to share. You know, that where life, every moment of their life reminds them of the preciousness of love. And it's pretty amazing. It's not just about, you know, they don't just hang in there. You know, they celebrate love. You know, they celebrate life. They celebrate the existence of each other, and they inspire each other to live a life. And I think that's, you know, look, Martin could have just sat there and played the cello beautifully for the rest of his life, and we'd all be happy, probably including him. But he had to go and do something extraordinary, you know, and he didn't know it was going to turn. We don't know which way fate turns on us. But there are two types of people. Those that can deal with fate and whatever it throws at us with an open and a huge heart, and those that can't and become brittle and resentful and bitter. I don't think there's a note uttered by that cello that is ever not beautiful or exciting or provocative or full of love. And if not full of love, it never is indifferent. And it's always committed. And I suppose if I had to look, you know, if this was some sort of flashback fairy tale movie, bitter fairy tale, and when Martin and Eva first met, and she had asked me the question, so what if life turns difficult? What can I expect from Martin? I could have said, listen to the note, it's committed, it's right there, it's always committed, it's never casual.
And you felt that when you were collaborating with him in the studio as well?
Always, you know, but that's what we do, you know, it's like, you know, we shut the doors to leave uncommitted out there. We shut the doors not to have vague and boring and, you know, it'll do, you know, Black Hawk Down or any of those films we worked on, nobody asked us to. Black Hawk Down, I remember being up for 72 hours. Nobody asked me to be up for 72 hours. It was trying to do something extraordinary, trying to tell a story in an extraordinary way, trying to, you know, be a band of brothers, you know, not let anybody else down that was on your team.
Be superhuman.
It's not superhuman, it's human. The unfortunate thing is that you have to put the word super in front of it, when it's the ambition, it's what we should all strive for. You know, that commitment to the gesture, to the love, to the how we approach the day, how we approach each other, how we approach humanity, how we approach art and beauty, and ultimately, in Martin's case, how we approach our instrument. You know, there needs to be respect. Well, we just started talking about it, and we started talking about it in the context that I have stage fright, and when I was 18, I was touring every working men's club and every pub in England. You know, actually, we were doing really well. We were making roughly £50 a week, so that was pretty good going, and I hated every second of it. So I didn't do any of that again until a few months ago when I not suddenly, but I decided to go on tour. And the most startling thing about this was, first of all, I thought nobody's going to come. Why would they want to come? I do film music. I'm not, Pharrell Williams. I'm not a, teen idol. I'm not, or, a great classical whatever. But they came. And the thing that was so extraordinary was that they were from all walks of life. They were kids, they were grandmas, they were everything in between. That they came from every social and cultural walk of life. And, it wasn't about being famous or any of that, but it was about realizing that all these years I've been having a conversation. I write my little piece of music, goes in a movie or goes on a CD and goes out there into the world. And in a funny way, I've been writing the soundtrack to all these people's lives. And we've been having this conversation without actually knowing each other, like looking each other in the eye. And it was time I looked into these people's eyes, and that's exactly what I did. And so I think that's exactly what Martin needs to do. And I think it will work. Because who doesn't want to go and see a man who plays extraordinary music with extraordinary love in his heart, with extraordinary commitment? I mean, you can go and see a CG something thing, or you can feel, smell, hear the rawness of true human emotion, that where somebody bears their heart and their soul right in front of you. Now that's an experience to be had. So what are we after in life? We're after having an experience. And I'm pretty sure Martin can do that for you.